Hello and welcome to the Canaries. Yes. Today's video is just going to be a quick video about how to make the dingle dangle that I'm using right now. This is a revised version of a wire dangle that I've used in the past, and I'm redoing it because I've made it better, and I should do that. I should update the videos as they improve. This differs from other dingle dangles because it is reusable. All the ones I use are reusable. You can tie them from braid or dacron straight onto the hook, but if you stuff up, you have to retie it, i.e. cut it with the scissors, and this can be a little bit time consuming, especially if your hands are cold or you stuff up the measurement or whatever. And size matters depending on what way you're presenting the bait, so you need to stick to your standards, otherwise things get a bit crazy, right? There is a certain size that is useful, and if it's any bigger or any smaller, it makes life more difficult on you. So that's what this video is. I will actually, for a change, put a link in for some of the harder to find products in this video. Everything comes from AliExpress. I am not working with them. I don't normally do this, but these are small vendors. It's not like they're big tackle companies or anything else. They need some love too. So without further ado, on with the build. Yes. So I will tell you what there is links for, and whatever there isn't a link for, I'm going to give you a good shot of it so you can go there and look for it yourself. You can search for the product name yourself on AliExpress. I don't know what other platforms supply these, so I just get from Ali. This is the wire I use for everything. This is 49 strand wire. It's good quality. It knots well. You don't need to use crimps with it, but in this case I am going to use crimps. Really cheap for 49 strand, okay? If you know anything about this stuff, it is horribly expensive. Not that one though. So this is one of the major changes I have made to this dingle dangle, and it is a brass disc, okay? And the reason why I like it is it's flat, okay? It's also cheap. It's not made of plastic. That's another thing. And the less plastic I'm involved with, the better. It is unavoidable. Less is always more, shall we say. I will put a link in for these. This is the tubing I use to protect the whole thing or to build on. It's easy to build on. This is thick. A lot of people use dacron instead, but it's not as durable, and this stays cleaner. It's easier to clean, also reusable, so you're not retying all the time and you don't have stinking bits of dacron in your tackle box. So there is no link for this. This is for making bracelets. So if you go in there and you search bracelet tubing or something like that, this will come up. It is 3mm. Next is a jigging ring. This is 7.3. That's the interior measurement. There is no link for this one. The packet is 3 years old or so, but if you just search jigging ring in AliExpress, 7.3 interior, that's what you'll get. Okay, now I will put a link in for these, but what makes these good is the shape. So it's got a little diamond shape, and this sits in the bait clip on the sinker beautifully. So this is an aluminium crimp, and I like the oval ones. This one is 2mm. You'll find them on AliExpress, also old, no links for it. The wire I'm using is 0.8. Two of these fit easily inside the crimp, okay? And you'll see why. Last but not least, you will need some shrink tube. The size will depend on what type of ring that you put on it. This one here is 1 centimeter, right? Okay, there you go. Just say use a bigger ring or a smaller ring. It will depend on the size of the ring that you use, okay? And it doesn't have to be clear, it's just nice, because you can see the hook going through it. It's just a bit of tartiness. Very cheap, right? That is all the components you will need for this. And here is a tool that you will need for it. You can use a crimping tool. Just the pliers will generally do, okay? And you will need a pair of scissors. Yes, that's it. So I am going to start at the bottom. I will just call these the bottom ring, okay? Thank you. Of course, I'm doing this in a storm. So you just loop it through like that. Now the order that these go on is important, and this is why the diameter of the wire and the crimp have to be the way it needs to be, okay? So there you go. So both pieces of wire fit through the crimp easily, okay? Somebody's going to ask, why am I using wire? Well, there are many reasons why. I fish with circle hooks 99% of the time, and a dingle dangle is the best way to fish with a circle hook. And there are fish in this area that have teeth, lots of them. There are different types of sharks, there are barracudas, there are bluefish, the list goes on, the list goes on. And since the circle hook generally takes the fish in the corner of the mouth. Then biting through your fishing line is less of an issue. I said less of an issue than it would normally be if you were using J hooks. So I don't actually need to use wire quite as much as you would as if you were using J hooks, okay? Because the hook usually ends up in the corner of their mouth. But if the fish then, before it gets to the hook, chomps down and cuts through the dingle dangle, it will just swim off with your bait and you won't get the fish. And generally they take a few chomps at it before they get everything right into their mouth the way that they like it. So that's why the wire is being used. You can make them out of braid. I will link that one in the description, and you can just use component lists from this video to make a more efficient braid version if that's what you like. Also, the wire needs to be small enough to go through the hole in the disc. There we go. There is a plastic coating on this wire and I'm trying to keep it intact so the dingle dangle lasts for longer. So very slowly, draw it down. So there we go. It's all in place now. And I will just take my pliers and I'll just crimp it. I'm going to squeeze this down as tight as I can so the triangle always ends up at the bottom. It doesn't twist around. It does sometimes, but it just makes life a little bit easier on you. Okay. Now I've been doing this quite a while, so I know how hard to squeeze. These aluminium crimps are incredibly soft. I don't use them for wire, I just use knots. There is a knot that you can use to tie instead of using crimps, and it is a figure of 8. I will link that video in the description. But generally I don't like using crimps. I just don't trust them. I trust a knot a lot more than crimps, and knots are cheaper. But for this type of thing, crimps are amazingly convenient. You don't need to guess how much the knot is going to slip or anything else. Whatever way you measure it, that's the way it is. I'm going to take a piece of plastic now to cover this. I would say that is 8 centimeters long. The fish around here are quite big, so that's what I'm doing. The baits I use are wide and oval shape instead of long and thin. With the rigs I use, the ring rig, I'll link in the description. This is the most efficient shape for a bait, for a large bait, to be cast a long way. And when I say a large bait, I'm talking about half a mackerel or something. 3 sardines, 3 squid, that kind of thing. A lot of bait, right? So I'm going to put on the plastic sheath. This is just easy to build on, and also in the dark it's also easy to see, so you don't cut it with your scissors. I use a pair of scissors to get the bait off because there's a lot of elastic involved. It just makes life so much easier. And that piece of wire goes inside there as well, just to make things nice and neat. There we go. Now this is important. That crimp is outside the disc. It allows room for it to sit on the bait clip without interfering with the lead weight, or the lead weight interfering with it. The next crimp goes down on top of the plastic sheath. Yes. Now your disc. It's good to have a bit of a tag end to help you work. If it's too short, you're going to struggle. So there is the last piece of the puzzle. The jigging ring, and that goes down there. Then you take your tag, you pass it through the disc just like you did before. And so with your pair of pliers, you grab a hold of whichever tag is not the one you're going to pull on, okay? Lubricate it, pull it down. So you just pass that into the crimp. That's it. Pull it out the other side. Slide the crimp down all the way. Take your pliers. Again, take the wire that you're not pulling on. There we go. Now you tighten down the crimp. I just do it 3 times, pull the plastic back, tuck in the tag. There we go. So there is one last bit. It actually is good if this is a little bit loose, because it allows the bait a little bit of autonomy, okay? But if it is tight, it's also not a deal breaker, right? Then your shrink tube over the top. Take your lighter. Cut off the excess. And there we go. The best dingle dangle I've designed yet. Now this is completely reusable, okay? The more care you take with the wire, the longer it will last. And this is also true with the braid as well, if you're going to do it this way. You can't use crimps with braid, you have to use knots, okay? And these are really cheap to make, whereas if you can find some to buy, it's most likely it's going to be expensive. So this is the dangles I'm using right now. In Norway, I would use one that was 7 centimeters long. And in Ireland, just for rays and like smooth hounds, if you want to lash a couple of crabs to this or whatever, I use 4.5 centimeters, okay? And I have been fishing this way for years. I have the sizes all figured out, and it makes perfect baits. It really does. If you want to fish circle hooks, this is the way to go. Also, you can fish this with J hooks if you must, and it will allow you to clip down a bigger bait than you would have normally. And if it's a soft bait, it has that to support it. It won't come apart when it hits the water. It's got many different benefits. I'm sure if you try it, you'll see them. And I will link the dingle dangles for pulley rigs, the video, in the description as well. There's going to be a lot in there, and I hope you find them useful. So other benefits of using this style of dingle dangle over the Dacron version is you can pre-make these and put them in a freezer if you like, if that's something you do. A lot of guys that fish in Norway during the winter, they like to bait up in the house and take it with them frozen. It's just quicker for me to do it where I am, for me, and then I don't have to clean the house up either. Right, so that's it there, quick as you like. If you cut this by accident with scissors, either the braid one or this, you could just take another one out of your box and clip it on. As simple as that. You can also fish these with float. It's not something I generally do. I might be doing that in some upcoming videos for some bluefish. We never know, we'll see. But that's it there. Once again, what's linked in the description is that jigging ring on the end, that brass disc there. And I don't have a link for the wire. I bought so much of that a long time ago. So I'm Billy, this is Billy tying dingle dangles. Wherever you are in the world, remember, I'll see you on the beach. Bye.